Christian Horner could be on his way back to Formula One, and the team linked with him is the biggest name of all, Ferrari. A report in the Daily Mail says the former Red Bull boss has been speaking with Ferrari about taking over as their team principal. But people close to Ferrari are pushing back hard, saying the story is untrue. So what is the truth? Let's break it down and look at what we actually know, what is being reported, and what might be happening behind the scenes. Horner officially exited Red Bull in September, a couple of months after being dismissed from his roles as team principal and CEO in July. That ended a 2-decade run where he guided Red Bull to 14 world titles, 6 Constructors' Championships and 8 Drivers' Championships with Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. His sudden departure stunned the paddock because Horner had been a constant presence during Red Bull's rise to dominance. When he left, Horner accepted a settlement reportedly around $80 million. Crucially, that was less than he could have made if he had stayed under contract until 2030, which might have brought him about £110 million. Taking the smaller number now seems to be a clear signal. Horner wants to get back to work in Formula One sooner rather than later. Under the terms of his exit, the earliest he can return is April 2026. That timing matters a lot for any team thinking about signing him. Since his exit, Horner has kept a low profile. He hasn't attended a race, and his last time seen in the paddock was at the British Grand Prix on July 6th. Laurent Mekies stepped into his role at Red Bull after his removal, but Horner himself is not treating this as retirement. People close to the situation say he is actively exploring a new position in F1, and given his record, many teams would at least want to hear him out. This is where Ferrari comes in. The 2025 season has not gone the way they hoped. Charles Leclerc sits 5th in the drivers' standings, while Lewis Hamilton is only 6th. After 18 rounds, Ferrari have just 5 podiums, and every one of those was scored by Leclerc. Hamilton's form since leaving Mercedes has been underwhelming, and that has brought a lot of questions about Ferrari's car, strategy, and overall leadership. They're being outpaced by McLaren and Mercedes too often, and that's not acceptable for a team with Ferrari's expectations. According to the Daily Mail, Horner and Ferrari have held exploratory talks about him becoming team principal. The story says Ferrari chairman John Elkann has personally courted Horner. The Telegraph also backed up the claim that discussions have taken place. There have even been whispers about the kind of salary Horner would want, which suggests more than just casual contact. The Mail says Elkann isn't fully convinced by current boss Fred Vasseur, even though Vasseur signed a multi-year extension in July. But the Italian side tells a very different story. Sky Italia reported today that the Horner to Ferrari narrative is baseless. They say there's no proof of any conversation between Elkann and Horner, and insist Ferrari renewed Vasseur's deal because they are committed to his plan. From their perspective, it would make no sense to extend Vasseur and then try to replace him 3 months later. Their message is simple: the rumours are wrong. So we have 2 versions. British outlets claim talks happened. Italian media, close to the team, deny it flat out. What explains this clash? There are a few possible answers. The British press could be leaning into speculation. The Mail framed this as an exclusive with detailed elements, so it would be unusual for them to go that far without confidence in their sources. Still, we cannot rule out that the reports are ahead of the facts. Ferrari might be managing the optics. If they have quietly explored Horner as an option, they would want to protect Vasseur and the current project in public. In F1, teams often deny sensitive conversations until a decision is actually made. Perhaps informal talks did happen, but nothing advanced. Elkann could have felt out Horner's interest, then chosen to double down on Vasseur. In that case, the British and Italian stories could both contain parts of the truth. The timing of Vasseur's extension is a big piece of the puzzle. Ferrari gave him a new multi-year deal in July. To pivot away from him so soon would look messy and reactive, something Ferrari usually tries to avoid. The last time they removed a team principal mid-contract was back in 1997. That said, results do matter at Ferrari, and they are not good enough right now. They're trailing rivals more often than not, and Hamilton's struggles since the high-profile switch from Mercedes have only added pressure. Fans expected wins. Instead, Hamilton has been beaten on form by Leclerc. If the car and the structure aren't delivering, the conversation turns to leadership. From Horner's perspective, Ferrari is the dream challenge. It's the most iconic name in F1. If he arrived in Maranello and turned them into champions again, it would be the perfect way to rebuild his reputation after his Red Bull exit. It would also show critics that his success wasn't only about having Adrian Newey's designs or Max Verstappen's talent. Leading Ferrari back to the top would be a statement. Other destinations have been mentioned for Horner. Aston Martin's name came up, but they publicly denied any interest. Haas has been linked, then cooled the talk. Cadillac, set to join the grid in 2026, was floated as an option as well, but none of these have turned into anything concrete. Either the teams have shut it down in public, or their silence suggests nothing is close. Now, back to the date that changes everything, April 2026. That is the first time Horner can return to work under his settlement. By then, the 2026 season will already be running. Would Ferrari push out Vasseur mid-season to install Horner the moment he is free? That seems unlikely and risky. A more believable path would be to let Vasseur see out 2026, then decide for 2027 if the results still aren't there. The year 2026 also marks a major rules reset. Formula One will introduce new power unit and chassis regulations. These changes can shuffle the order and give teams a fresh chance to leap forward. Ferrari will hope to nail those rules and close the gap. If Vasseur delivers a strong 2026 car, there is no need to change. If the car misses the mark again and the team keeps underperforming, the pressure on Elkann to make a bold move will rise fast. Ferrari's need is clear. They want titles again. They haven't won the Constructors' Championship since 2008 or the Drivers' Championship since 2007. Over the years, they have hired big names, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, and now Lewis Hamilton, but the car and the structure haven't matched that ambition. Many observers think the core issue is organisational, not just the wind tunnel numbers or engine output. Horner's resume stands out here. He built and sustained a winning environment at Red Bull for more than a decade. He handled tough driver dynamics, made big strategy calls, and kept the group aligned through rule changes and performance dips. Those are the exact qualities Ferrari could use, but there are also real reasons to doubt this move. Horner left Red Bull in controversy, and Ferrari may not want to invite that storm into Maranello. Culture is another factor. Ferrari is a traditional Italian powerhouse with its own way of working and intense public pressure. Success there is different from success at Red Bull. Horner would need to fit into that system, win over the factory, and deal with a unique media and fan climate. That is not an easy transition for anyone. So where does that leave us? On one hand, the Daily Mail and the Telegraph say talks have taken place and even mention wage demands. On the other hand, Sky Italia is adamant that nothing is happening and that Vasseur retains Elkann's full backing. The truth could be in the middle, a few exploratory chats, no firm offer, and Ferrari keeping its options open while publicly defending its current boss. What we can say with confidence is this: Horner wants back in, Ferrari's results are under intense scrutiny, and the next stretch of races could shape Vasseur's future. If Ferrari closes 2025 on a low note, calls for change will grow louder. If that happens, Horner naturally becomes the headline candidate, especially with his start date lining up in early 2026. Whether Ferrari will take that leap or stick with Vasseur through the 2026 reset and beyond depends on performance, politics and timing. For now, we'll watch the lap times, the podiums and the body language in the Ferrari garage. If the tide turns and the car improves, Vasseur gains breathing room. If not, the pressure on Elkann to roll the dice will intensify. And if a door opens, you can be sure Horner will be ready to walk through it. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.